By the time Sophia Moretti realized her interpreter wasn't coming, 200 guests had already taken their seats at the Grand Bellamy Hotel. Sophia sat beside her brother, Adrian, at the main table. She was 29, elegant in a dark blue dress, sharp enough to read the entire room. The problem was, the room refused to read her. A trustee leaned toward Adrian and asked whether Sophia preferred fish or chicken, even though Sophia was sitting right between them. Another guest praised her architectural work, then turned to Adrian and asked if she still designed buildings, despite her condition. Adrian answered before Sophia could even reach for her phone. He wasn't trying to insult his sister. He'd spent years protecting her from uncomfortable moments. But somewhere along the way, protection had quietly turned into interruption. Across the room, a waitress named Lily Carter balanced a tray of water glasses, watching it all happen. She was only working the event on a temporary contract. Her rent was overdue, and the agency had warned her not to make a single mistake. Still, she couldn't make herself look away from a woman being discussed like she was an empty chair. Would you step into a powerful family's conversation, or stay quiet to protect your job? Tell us what you'd have done. Lily set a glass of water beside Sophia, then signed to her, *, do you want me to walk you through the menu, or would you rather everyone just stop talking like you're invisible? *. Sophia stared at her. Then she laughed, the first real laugh Adrian had heard out of his sister all evening. Sophia signed back that Lily's grammar was terrible. Lily admitted she'd learned from an elderly neighbor, and he'd probably slipped in a few wrong signs on purpose, because he loved cheating at cards. Adrian watched their hands move and understood almost none of it. He knew 4 signs. *, thank you. Danger. Wait. Home *, not nearly enough to follow his own sister's reply. That realization hit him harder than he expected. When he finally asked what had been said, Lily looked at Sophia first and only explained once Sophia nodded. Everyone else at that table had spoken for Sophia all night. Lily was the first person who asked her permission. When the first course came out, Lily returned with a printed menu and signed through the ingredients. Sophia corrected her twice. The third time, Lily accidentally signed angry mushroom instead of grilled mushroom, and Sophia laughed so hard she nearly knocked over her water glass. Adrian noticed how naturally Lily folded her into the conversation, no performance, no audience seeking kindness. She simply talked to her, the way you'd talk to anyone. Then came the keynote. The host announced plans to sell the Moretti Community Theater, a historic building the Family Foundation had funded for years. Sophia's whole expression changed. She signed something urgent to Adrian, but he couldn't follow it. His cousin, Marcus Vale, jumped in and said Sophia was just surprised, then casually laid his hand over the folder sitting in front of her. Lily caught what Adrian missed. Sophia had signed one clear sentence, *, I never approved this. *. Marcus turned to the trustees and announced that Sophia fully supported the sale. Polite applause followed. Sophia shook her head, furious, but Marcus started talking about the theater's debts before she could even lift her phone to show Adrian. Lily knew she should walk away. This was Moretti family business, and Adrian's name carried stories people only repeated in lowered voices. But Sophia had spent the entire evening being talked over, and Lily couldn't do it one more time. She leaned in close enough for Sophia to see and signed, *, do you want me to tell him? *. Sophia answered instantly. *, Make him ask me. *. Lily turned to Adrian. Sir, your sister is trying to answer you. The table went silent. Adrian slid the folder out from under Marcus's hand and set it in front of Sophia. For the first time all night, he didn't speak for her. He waited. Sophia crossed out the approval line and wrote beneath it, I never agreed. Adrian's face turned cold. Marcus insisted it was all a misunderstanding. Sophia signed rapidly and Lily translated, but only after being asked. The meeting had been rescheduled twice. The interpreter had cancelled. Pages had gone missing from the documents Sophia was given.
Marcus accused Lily of mistranslating. Sophia typed the exact same accusation on her phone and handed it straight to Adrian.
He read it twice, then looked at Lily with real suspicion.
"How long have you known my sister?" "About 12 minutes. And you noticed something my own family didn't?" Lily glanced at Sophia. "I noticed because your family wasn't looking at her."
Before dinner ended, Adrian ordered security to preserve every email, contract, and recording connected to the theater vote. Then he asked Lily for her full name.
Lily Carter.
By midnight, Lily had turned in her uniform and was walking toward the bus stop, certain she'd never hear from the Morettis again.
Then a black car rolled up beside the curb. The rear window came down. Sophia sat inside, smiling.
Beside her, Adrian held the unsigned theater contract.
"My sister wants to thank you," he said. "And I need to know why a waitress understood her better than I did." Lily didn't get in right away.
She looked at Adrian, then at Sophia, and asked why the most powerful family at the entire gala had let its only interpreter vanish without arranging a backup.
Adrian's jaw tightened.
He admitted Marcus had handled the event schedule. The interpreter had supposedly cancelled due to illness, but nobody had actually confirmed it.
Sophia signed that the cancellation email had arrived just 20 minutes before dinner started.
Lily translated, then caught herself and apologized to Sophia for answering before being asked.
Sophia smiled. Asterisk, you noticed that. That's already rare. Asterisk.
Adrian watched the whole exchange closely, then offered Lily a ride home. This time she accepted. The last bus was already gone, and rain was starting to fall. Inside the car, Sophia asked how Lily had learned to sign. Lily explained that her old neighbor, Mr. Ellis, had been deaf. He lived alone, loved card games, and refused to let anyone treat his silence like a weakness. When Lily was 13, he taught her basic signs so she could help carry his groceries and argue with him properly.
Sophia asked if he'd taught her angry mushroom on purpose.
Lily admitted that was probably his revenge for losing at cards.
Sophia laughed.
Adrian didn't get the joke until Lily explained it to him. He smiled, but it clearly stung a little. He'd protected Sophia since their parents died. He knew which doors were secure, which streets weren't safe, which people couldn't be trusted.
And yet he couldn't follow an ordinary conversation with his own sister.
When the car reached Lily's building, Adrian offered her money for stepping in at dinner.
Lily turned it down.
She hadn't performed a service, she'd just noticed someone being shut out. Adrian said her intervention may have stopped the sale of a property worth millions.
Lily told him that didn't turn basic decency into a paid job.
Sophia tapped Adrian's arm and signed that Lily had just turned him down more efficiently than most of his business rivals ever managed.
Lily only translated that once Adrian asked her to.
Before she left, Sophia invited her to the foundation meeting the next afternoon. Lily hesitated. She had a shift at another hotel, and she didn't want the Morettis mistaking her rough signing for professional interpretation.
Sophia typed a message on her phone, asterisk, I don't need you to speak for me.
I need one person in the room who notices when everyone else refuses to listen, asterisk, that was different. Lily agreed to come after her shift, but only if Adrian hired a certified interpreter too.
He promised he would.
The next afternoon, the Moretti Foundation board gathered in a private conference room. This time, a certified interpreter sat beside Sophia.
Lily stood near the back wall in her plain work clothes, wondering why Sophia had still wanted her there.
Marcus walked in carrying 3 folders, greeting Adrian like nothing unusual had happened. He argued the theater sale was necessary, repairs would cost more than the building was even worth. Sophia signed that the theater served deaf children, immigrant families, and neighborhood arts programs.
Its value could never be measured in property prices alone.
The interpreter translated every word perfectly, and for the first time, the board couldn't pretend Sophia had said something else.
Marcus presented financial reports showing years of losses.
Lily watched Sophia study the pages. Something in the numbers made her pause. She signed a question about renovation costs listed twice, under 2 different company names. Marcus answered before the interpreter even finished, claiming the entries covered separate repairs.
Sophia asked for invoices. Marcus said they weren't available. Adrian's attention sharpened. Lily didn't know accounting, but she'd spent years watching hotel managers manipulate event bills.
Duplicate charges always look harmless until you compare the dates.
She quietly pointed out 2 payments made on the exact same day for the exact same roof repair. Sophia spotted another. Then another.
Marcus snapped that Lily was interfering in matters far beyond her education.
Lily replied that numbers didn't care what uniform she wore. Adrian nearly smiled. The board postponed the sale and ordered an independent audit. Marcus left the room without looking at Lily once.
Sophia waited until he was gone, then thanked her. Lily reminded her that she'd found the duplicate charges herself.
Sophia signed, *, you bought me the time to look.
* The distinction mattered. After the meeting, Adrian invited Lily for coffee in the foundation kitchen.
He tried to sign thank you.
What came out instead was closer to "Your chicken is brave."
Sophia laughed so hard she had to sit down. Lily corrected his fingers and told him he needed practice. Adrian asked if she'd teach him.
She studied him for a moment.
Not to impress me. To understand your sister. Lily agreed.
Their first lesson covered 5 signs: please, wait, explain, choose, and sorry. Adrian struggled hardest with the last one.
Sophia suggested that wasn't a language problem at all.
For the next hour, one of the city's most feared businessmen repeated simple hand movements while Lily corrected him without a shred of fear, and Sophia watched with quiet satisfaction.
By the end, Adrian could finally ask his sister one complete question: what do you want? Sophia's expression softened. She signed that she wanted the theater saved, the missing money found, and her seat on the board actually respected.
Then she added one more request: she wanted Lily to come with her to the theater the next morning. Marcus had claimed the building was nearly empty.
Sophia believed someone had deliberately hidden how many people still depended on it.
Before they could protect the theater, they needed to see exactly what was happening inside.
The Moretti Community Theater looked abandoned from the street. Its old stone entrance was cracked. 2 posters hung crooked behind the glass.
Only one light glowed from inside. Marcus had called it an empty building draining the foundation dry.
But when Lily pushed open the side door, music drifted up from below.
Sophia smiled, she'd known something was wrong all along. They followed the sound down into the basement, where 20 deaf children were rehearsing a play through movement, lighting cues, and sign language. In the next room, immigrant parents sat through an evening language class while volunteers prepared food along the back wall.
The theater wasn't empty. It was being hidden.
A woman named Rachel, who ran the programs, explained that Marcus had quietly cut their funding and pulled the theater off the foundation's website. Volunteers had kept things running anyway, because families still depended on the space.
Sophia asked why no one had ever contacted her directly.
Rachel looked embarrassed. Every email addressed to Sophia had gotten a reply from Marcus's office, saying she'd approved the cuts herself.
Sophia's expression hardened. Someone hadn't just ignored her voice. They'd been using it.
Lily stayed close but didn't translate. A certified interpreter had come along, and Sophia deserved someone trained for the job.
That didn't make Lily unnecessary.
When the children noticed her signing, they swarmed her with questions. One boy asked if she was Sophia's assistant.
Lily signed back that Sophia looked more than capable of handling herself.
Sophia laughed and corrected her grammar all over again. Adrian arrived 20 minutes later, expecting an empty building. Instead, he found nearly 60 people using it. He watched Sophia move through the rooms, asking staff about repairs and programs, not confused, not emotional, not dependent.
Leading.
When Adrian tried to question Rachel himself, Lily touched his sleeve and pointed toward Sophia. He stopped. Then he used one of the signs Lily had taught him: explain. Sophia answered slowly enough that he could follow part of it himself, and the interpreter filled in the rest.
Marcus had hidden the attendance numbers, redirected donations, and answered Sophia's emails without her permission. Adrian's face went cold. But instead of clearing the room and treating it like a crime scene, he asked Sophia what she wanted done first. She signed that the children should finish their rehearsal. The investigation could wait 1 hour. Adrian agreed.
That small decision meant more to Sophia than he realized. For years, he'd treated urgency as authority. Now he was learning that real protection starts with asking what matters to the person you're protecting. During rehearsal, Lily sat beside Sophia in the front row. Sophia admitted people praised her designs constantly, but were rarely invited into the conversations that actually mattered. They saw her deftness before they ever saw her skill. Lily told her people did the same thing with a uniform: wear black, carry a tray, and guests talk right around you like you're part of the furniture. Sophia signed, then maybe we should become very inconvenient furniture. Lily laughed. Whatever was growing between them no longer felt tied to one dinner or one contract. It just felt easy. Would you expose Marcus immediately, or quietly gather every piece of proof first? Tell us honestly what you'd choose. After rehearsal, Sophia showed Adrian restoration plans she'd drawn years earlier: visual emergency alarms, wider exits, a performance system built for deaf and hearing audiences together. Adrian studied every page, then asked why she'd never shown him before. Sophia signed that she had tried. He'd just always been too busy answering for her. Adrian lowered his eyes. Then he signed the word Lily had taught him the night before. Sorry his fingers weren't perfect, but Sophia understood exactly what he meant. She placed her hand over his. Lily looked away, giving them the moment. Outside, Adrian thanked Lily for bringing Sophia there. Lily reminded him that Sophia had brought them both. He accepted the correction, then asked if she'd keep teaching him. She agreed, but warned him that Sophia would be choosing the vocabulary from now on. Adrian glanced at his sister, who immediately signed 3 words: stop interrupting me. Lily translated while trying not to laugh. Adrian said the lessons were starting to feel suspiciously personal. For the first time, Sophia signed straight to him, and he understood enough to answer without any help at all. It was a small moment. It changed everything. That evening, Adrian drove Lily home, one security car trailing at a distance. He asked about her hotel work and learned her shifts changed every single week. Lily wanted stability, but she'd turned down several office jobs because they wouldn't let her keep helping out at Mr. Ellis's old community center. Adrian didn't offer money this time. He asked what she actually wanted. Lily said she wanted work where being useful didn't mean becoming invisible. Adrian looked at her differently after that, not as the waitress who'd helped his sister, but as someone who understood the exact same kind of silence Sophia lived in. Before Lily got out of the car, Adrian handed her a copy of the theater audit. He'd flagged a series of payments to a company called Veil Accessibility Services, charges for interpreters, visual alarms, and building repairs that had never once reached the theater. The total came to more than $2 million. And at the bottom of every payment request sat Sophia's electronic approval. Sophia had never seen a single one of those documents. Someone had copied her signature, and Marcus had counted on her deafness to make sure nobody ever thought to ask her if it was real. The audit confirmed it. Over 4 years, more than $2 million had been drained from the theater. Marcus had invented invoices for interpreters who were never hired, alarm systems that were never installed, repairs that existed only on paper. Every single payment carried Sophia's name. Adrian wanted Marcus arrested before sunrise. Sophia said no. She'd spent years watching men make decisions around her and call it protection. She wasn't going to let her own brother decide how her stolen name got defended. She wanted Marcus confronted at the foundation's annual public meeting, in front of every trustee, donor, and community leader who'd shake his hand. Adrian argued Marcus could destroy evidence, or just disappear. Sophia signed slowly enough that he caught most of it without the interpreter, then watch him. Don't silence me to stop him, Adrian looked to Lily. She didn't take his side. She reminded him that Sophia wasn't asking to face danger alone. She was asking to lead. That distinction mattered. Adrian finally agreed, on the condition that Sophia allow discreet security inside the venue. It was an imperfect compromise. But it was still progress. Over the following week, Lily kept teaching Adrian sign language in the theater lobby after her hotel shifts. He learned faster once he stopped trying to control every lesson. Sophia picked the vocabulary: evidence, trust, decision, lie, family. Lily slipped in a few lighter ones too. One evening she taught him how to sign terrible coffee. Adrian realized far too late that she'd used it every single time he brought her a cup. Sophia laughed so hard she nearly dropped the audit folder. Those quiet evenings shifted something between Lily and Adrian. He stopped seeing her as someone who'd wandered accidentally into his world and started asking about her life. Lily told him Mr. Ellis had died the previous winter, and she'd kept volunteering at his old community center ever since. Walking away from it would have felt like losing him twice. Adrian asked if that was why she stuck with unstable hotel shifts instead of steady work. She nodded. The flexibility let her keep helping at the center, but it also meant she never knew what she'd earn week to week. Adrian didn't offer her money. He asked whether the theater could use someone to coordinate its community programs and financial records. Lily went cautious immediately. Is that a job or a reward? A job. Sophia suggested it. Across the lobby, Sophia signed that Lily's bookkeeping experience, hotel work, and ties to the deaf community made her genuinely qualified. Lily asked if other candidates would be interviewed too. Sophia agreed. Only then did Lily submit an application. Adrian watched her with a mix of admiration and frustration. She made accepting help look harder than turning it down. Would you take a job offered by powerful friends if you were genuinely qualified, or avoid it because people might call it favoritism? Tell us what you'd do. On the night of the public meeting, the theater was packed. Families sat beside foundation donors. The deaf children from the rehearsal group filled the front row. 2 certified interpreters stood beneath the stage lights, captions rolling across a large screen behind them. For the first time, the room had actually been built so Sophia could take part without depending on anyone's convenience. Marcus walked in smiling, not yet realizing the audit was finished. During his presentation, he praised the foundation's commitment to accessibility and insisted the theater had simply become impossible to maintain. Then Sophia walked onto the stage. Marcus tried to keep talking. Adrian raised one hand. The room went silent. Sophia laid out the real attendance records, the emails redirected from her own account, and photographs proving the theater's accessibility systems had never been installed. The interpreter translated every word. Marcus claimed it was all the work of careless junior employees. Sophia pulled up the registration for Vail Accessibility Services. Marcus's son owned 40%. The rest of the shares sat with Marcus, tucked inside a hidden trust. Whispers spread through the crowd. Marcus stopped smiling. He accused Sophia of misreading the financial documents. Lily stood near the side wall, anger rising in her chest, but she didn't step in. Sophia didn't need rescuing. She asked Marcus one simple question: if she'd truly approved those payments, could he produce a single video call, signed document, or meeting record proving it? Marcus had nothing. Adrian stepped forward only once Sophia looked at him. He confirmed that security had recovered computer logs showing Marcus's assistant had logged into Sophia's account for every single approval. Cornered, Marcus turned on Lily instead, accusing her of manipulating Sophia, inventing the theater's importance, working her way into the Moretti family for personal gain. Lily stayed silent. Sophia answered for her. She told the room that Lily had never once spoken in her place. She'd done something far more threatening to Marcus. She'd waited for Sophia to speak for herself. The room rose in applause. Marcus moved for the exit, but security had already blocked the doors. Then one of the foundation's attorneys approached Adrian with a sealed envelope. Inside was a second contract. Marcus hadn't just stolen from the theater, he'd quietly arranged to sell the land to a private developer, with the transfer scheduled for 9 the next morning. If the court didn't freeze the agreement in time, the theater would legally change hands before breakfast. They'd just exposed Marcus in front of the whole city. Now they had less than 12 hours to save the building. The sealed contract left them less than 12 hours. Marcus had arranged the sale through a shell company, timing the transfer for 9 a.m., banking on the foundation still believing Sophia had signed off on it. This time, nobody was going to answer for her. Sophia asked the attorney what it would take to stop the sale. He explained they needed hard proof of forged consent and an emergency court order before the transfer went through. Adrian reached for his phone, ready to burn through every connection he had. Sophia stopped him. No threats. No private pressure. Marcus had used hidden power against her, she was going to beat him out in the open. For the next 6 hours, the theater turned into a working office. Lily sorted through invoices while Sophia cross-checked them against her own records. Adrian's security team pulled login data proving Marcus's assistant had accessed Sophia's account while she was across town at other events entirely. The strongest piece of evidence came from Noah, a deaf teenager who'd filmed a rehearsal months earlier almost by accident. Marcus appeared in the background of his footage, instructing an assistant to push payments through Sophia's account before she started asking questions. Noah had never known the clip mattered. Now it might save the entire building. At 7 the next morning, Sophia walked into the courthouse with Adrian at her side. Reporters packed the entrance, but Sophia gave the statement herself. This case, she said, was never only about stolen money. Marcus had treated her deafness as an excuse to erase her consent and manufacture her agreement whenever it suited him. Inside, Marcus's lawyer claimed Sophia had simply misread the paperwork. Sophia laid out the redirected emails, the false invoices, the computer logs, and Noah's video. Then she asked one final question: if Marcus truly believed she'd approved everything, why had every important meeting been scheduled without an interpreter in the room? The judge froze the sale and referred the forged approvals for criminal investigation. The theater stayed with the foundation. Marcus was removed from the board before noon, no dramatic scene, no one dragging him out. He simply lost the influence he'd spent years building on the assumption that silence meant weakness. Outside the courthouse, Adrian asked Sophia what she wanted to do first. She signed, *go back to work. For once, he understood her without any help at all. 3 months later, the Moretti Community Theater reopened. Visual alarms lit the halls. Captions ran above the stage. Interpreters were booked for every major program. Sophia became chair of the foundation board, and the room finally waited for her answer. Lily earned the title of Community Programs and Accounts Coordinator through an open interview process. Her new office held a desk, a chair, and a framed photograph of Mr. Ellis mid-cheat at the card table. Adrian kept up his sign language lessons. One evening he tried to sign that Lily looked beautiful. What came out instead was that she resembled an elegant refrigerator. Sophia laughed so hard she had to sit down. Adrian blamed Lily's teaching. Lily told him the refrigerator was entirely his own achievement. Their relationship grew through ordinary moments instead of grand gestures. Adrian brought coffee. He asked before helping. He stopped treating every problem like something he alone had to solve. Lily learned that underneath his controlled exterior was a man who'd simply confused fear with responsibility. He learned that her independence was never rejection, it was the part of her that had survived years of being overlooked. On reopening night, Sophia's original designs hung in the lobby. The first performance was staged by deaf and hearing children together, side by side. As the audience applauded, Sophia reminded Lily that none of it would have happened if one waitress hadn't noticed a conversation nobody else bothered to understand. Lily corrected her. It happened because you refused to let them decide what you meant. Sophia smiled and signed that both answers could be true. After the crowd cleared out, Adrian found Lily near the stage. He signed to her carefully, with no interpreter in sight, "May I take you to dinner?"
Lily asked if 12 security cars would be waiting outside. He signed back, 1. She checked through the doors. There really was only one car. Lily agreed on the condition that she picked the restaurant.
From the balcony above, Sophia added one last instruction: ask her what she wants to eat before you order.
Adrian looked at Lily and did exactly that.
The man once feared across the city, who used to answer every question for his sister, now waited for the woman he loved to answer for herself. And Lily, who'd spent years being treated like part of the furniture, finally stood in a place where everyone understood that being quiet and being voiceless were never the same thing. Tell us your country or city, and how Sophia's story made you feel.
Would you trust Adrian after watching him change, or make him prove that respect every single day?